Hi, it's Judy and today I have a huge and exciting book haul. So I went to New York last week and I bought a lot of books. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. Like, I'm talking I had to buy a second suitcase and bring an entire suitcase full of books home. Kind of a lot. So yeah, I kind of went over the top. I'm really happy with all the books that I bought. They are all mostly books that I can't really get in the UK, or just ones that I really wanted, and like special editions and all that kind of stuff. I went to a lot of different Barnes&Nobles in New York and I went there multiple times. Also visited the Strand bookstore, which includes used and new books, and the Strand is just absolutely amazing. Like, I was in book heaven. A lot of cool books and some cool bookish bits and pieces, so I'm going to show you that today. I got a total of 23 books, so yeah, it's a lot. And I just I have no room on my shelves for them either, so I don't know where I'm going to put them. I've got them in a huge stack behind me. So because there are so many books that I bought, I'm not going to bother to sit here and tell you about every single book because this video will be way too long. So I'll probably just say a few things about it, maybe what I'm excited about it. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I will link all the books below and then you can find the synopsis there for them. But yeah, let's just get started. If you would like to see all of the 23 books that I bought in New York, then please keep watching. This is the only book set that I bought, and it was A Discovery of Witches book set. I just love these US editions. This series is about witches. There's actually a TV show out in the UK. I don't know if it's in the US. So this trilogy is by Deborah Harkness, or Deborah Harkness. I think it's meant to say Deborah. This trilogy is one that I really do want to read. I haven't read any of these books before and I'm really excited to because I love the TV series. So this follows the main character, Diana, who is a witch, and she is, I think, a scholar or a professor in Oxford University, and she's in the library and she comes across this really old manuscript that no one can find, and somehow she manages to, and that kind of puts like a target on her. And then she meets a vampire and they kind of start to fall in love, and that's kind of all I know about it. So yeah, I'm super excited to read these. Next book I hadn't heard of before, but I was actually getting a Starbucks in a Barnes&Noble and this was on offer by the till, and I just thought I may as well pick it up, and that is The Lost by Natasha Preston, and this is a Barnes&Noble exclusive edition. The main character in this book is called Piper, and in her little town loads and loads of teenagers have been going missing, so her and her friend decide to try and track them down or find out what's happened to them, and I believe they end up captured themselves, and they find themselves locked in this secluded building in this random little forest that's like privately owned, and it's not just a place to trap them, it's a place where every single room is kind of a test to see if they can come out alive. And this just sounds really, really creepy, and it is a YA thriller, I believe, so I'm pretty excited to pick this one up. These next two books I am super excited about. I really, really want to read this series. It's very, very high on my TBR. I really don't know when I will, but I'm hoping to soon. So I got the paperback editions of these. This is the first and second book. The third one isn't out in paperback yet, which kind of sucks, but I'm hoping I can get my hands on it at some point from the US because I like these covers and I want them all to match. But I picked up Nevernight and God's Grave by J. Kristoff. So these are extremely popular on BookTube, on Bookstagram and Book Twitter. Everyone loves this series. Yeah, I believe the main character in this somehow loses all of her family, or they're murdered or something, and she becomes an assassin and she is determined to get revenge, and that's the basic plot of the book. That's pretty much all I know. I don't really want to know too much about it going in. I just want to go in and read them and enjoy them and be surprised, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. But I'm so happy I picked both of these up, and I can't wait to get the third one in paperback. I'm just hoping that someone in the States will be willing to ship one to me. So yeah. I really like these, and I really love the spines too. They're so nice. Next book I bought at random, and I hadn't seen or heard of it before, but this is Dangerous Alliance by Jenny Cohen. We're going with that name. But I really like the cover. I'm not usually a fan of pink, but I just think this is really, really nice looking, and the cover really caught my eye. So this says on the front that it's an ostentatious romance, so obviously Jane Austen style romance. I believe the main character in this book is a huge lover of Jane Austen, and her sister is happily married, a family estate secured, and then something happens to their sister's husband, and now it is her responsibility to find a husband or a way to secure the family's future. The main character looks to her Jane Austen books to try and figure out how she's supposed to do this, but doesn't find any answers there. And by the sounds of it, there's like a kind of love triangle or a few different love interests, and yeah, that's kind of all I know about this book, and it does sound really interesting. I really like the idea behind this book and the whole Jane Austen vibe, and the fact that the main character is a book lover. I really resonate with that, obviously. So I'm pretty excited to give this a read, and I'm hoping it's good because, like I said, this is a totally random buy for me. I wouldn't normally pick something like this up. So yeah, I've got high expectations for this book. The next book, I don't need to tell you what it's about. We all know what it's about. If you don't, then why? You should know this book. This next book I already own 2 copies of, but I saw this copy and I really wanted it. I'm a sucker for the Barnes&Noble's leather bound editions, and I just really like them. Dracula, so this was just $10, which is an absolute bargain. It is so nice. It's got black sprayed edges and I love this. I have the same like edition of this in Frankenstein though, so this will match that on my shelf perfectly, and I just thought this would look super cool next to it, and it totally does, and I'm so happy I picked this up. So since I mentioned Frankenstein just then and Dracula, I thought I'd show this one next. This was $8 and this was from the Strand, and I just really love this edition, and for $8 I was like, gotta get it. So this is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and it just looks like this. So pretty, and that's simply the only reason I bought it, was because I loved how it looked. This next one is a book I'm quite excited about. So I read I think it's called The Raven Cycle. I read it like a couple of years ago by Maggie Stiefvater, I think is how you pronounce her last name. And this book recently came out, and yeah, it was 50% off in Barnes&Noble, so I thought I may as well pick it up. I don't have a huge interest in reading this anytime soon. I just kind of wanted to get it because I will eventually read it. I'm just not like, oh my god, I want to read it now. But that is Call Down the Hook. So this is the first book in a new trilogy she's producing. The trilogy is called the Dreamer Trilogy. It follows one of the characters from the Raven Cycle called Ronan Lynch, and he was a dream walker. He could kind of like do this weird thing and go into dreams and stuff like that, and it follows him and someone else, and that's pretty much all I know about it. It is basically centered around him and his ability to dreamwalk, basically. This next one was one that I've seen all over the internet, but I've just never bothered to even find out what it's about. But it was 50% off, so that's simply the reason I picked it up, and that is Winterwood by Sheer Earnshaw, I think. I read the back of this and that's what sold me on it. It sounds really eerie and really like atmospheric and really cool. This follows a character called Nora, who's believed to be a witch, and she is descended from a long line of warlord women, and the forest she lives in is believed to be magical. And she meets this boy in the forest called Oliver Huntsman, and this guy is actually someone who disappeared weeks ago in a snowstorm, and he randomly just shows up in the woods and he has no idea what the hell happened to him. He's got no memory whatsoever. He doesn't know how he's ended up in these woods. Basically everyone's just like, what the fuck's going on? To put it bluntly. And the main character Nora ends up falling for this Oliver guy, and he has these like dark secrets he really wants to stay hidden, and apparently he wasn't the only person to go missing at night. So this sort of sounds like a little bit of like a romancy mystery kind of story, and I just really like the sound of it. Next we have a book that I am so excited that I have. I really wanted this. I've wanted this for a while. So this was the first book I got when I went there because I was looking for this book, and this character I love so much. Like, favourite anti-hero, I guess you could say, I think. Is he an anti-hero? Yeah, he's like a villain slash anti-hero. It depends what perspective you're looking at him from, but I just really love him anyway. He's one of my favourite Marvel characters ever, and that is Loki, Where Mischief Lies, and this is by Mackenzie Lee. And I know this is obviously about Loki, and I think he has a love interest, and then she is banished from Earth for some destruction of something on Asgard, and then like he's obviously lost without her, and I think that's when he starts to turn like wicked and evil and the mischievous Loki that we know. And yeah, so I think this is about him as a younger Loki and how he kind of had his heart broken. I think I haven't read too much into what it's about because I just want to go into this and not know a lot about it and just read it and enjoy it. I don't know why, but I always tend to enjoy a book more when I don't really know anything about it. Can't wait to read this. Like, I love Loki. He's one of my favourite fictional characters ever, and this is just going to be, I just know I'm going to love it. I know I will. It's got Loki, it's got Asgard, and it's Marvel, so yeah, I love it. Like, this cover, I love it. I want to display this on my shelf somewhere. Next I have two Holly Black books. The first book is The Darkest Part of the Forest, and it's this one, and this is set in the same world as the Folk of the Air trilogy is, and I don't really know much about it. I really enjoyed The Cruel Prince, and I just like Holly Black's writing, so I thought I'd get it. And then this one as well is a big one. This one is so big and it's so chunky, but I love it, and I love this cover. It is so pretty, and this is The Modern Fairy Tales, obviously by Holly Black. So this has 3 stories in it, so this is a trilogy, and it has, I'm going to read them off here because I can't remember the names, Teeth, Valiant and Ironside, and these are 3 different stories set in the Fae world. And I don't know a lot more about it except that it is set more in the modern world, and it's got fairies in it obviously, and it just sounds really interesting. And like I said, I really like Holly Black's writing. Don't know much about either of these except for I know I like them. So yeah, I really love the covers on both of these. They're so pretty. Next book is a random pickup because I really just wanted it. It was second hand in the Strand and it was super cheap. This was $12 and it is just the Shadowhunters Codex. I just really wanted this for my Shadowhunter shelves. Like, it has so many cool things like runes and stuff in it, and yeah, I just really wanted this to add to my shelves, and it is hardback, so I'm really happy that I found this. So this was probably the second book I was most excited to buy. I recently read A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and I really enjoyed it. I picked up the second book, and that is A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and this is the Barnes&Noble exclusive edition. So this doesn't actually follow Wren and Harper as much as I was led to believe, but this is what I've heard from people anyway. I think it more focuses on Grey and I think a new character that comes into it, and that's pretty much all I know. I don't know a lot more about it. That is literally the only things I know about this. Lovely art in it as well. So yeah, that is why I love exclusive editions, because it always has nice fan art inside. So this next book is the third book in this series. I already own the first 2 in the UK hardbacks. I've also ordered the 2 US hardbacks to go with this one, but that is Finale by Stephanie Garber, and this is the third book in the Caraval trilogy, and this is a signed copy, which is the main reason I bought it. And yeah, I just really wanted the US edition because it's so nice, and I'm not going to bother saying what this one's about because it is the third book in the series and I don't want to give any spoilers. This next book I haven't actually heard much about, but it caught my eye, and it is apparently going to be a new Netflix series, so I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. And this is called Cursed by Thomas Wheeler, and it is illustrated by Frank Miller. This is about some kind of sword, and it's usually like whoever wields it is going to be the next king, but the plot twist here is that there is a woman who can wield it, so should she be queen? The main character in this book grew up in a druid village, and she has some kind of connection to dark magic, so I think she's sort of like an outsider within her village. Then her entire village is slaughtered, and I think she kind of wants revenge, and she needs to reunite the sword with some kind of sorcerer or something, and there's some kind of like darkness of like power and stuff grown inside of her as her journey progresses through the story. And then she meets a mercenary, and the story goes from there. So this just sounds really, really cool. I really like the sound of this, and I think it's just going to be like a really fun read, and I'm excited because it's going to be a Netflix show. So hopefully I read this before the show comes out, because I really do not like to read something after I've already like seen it a lot of the time. So yeah, I really can't wait to read this, and it sounds absolutely amazing. Next we have two Brandon Sanderson books, Skyward and Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. So I already have Skyward, but I just really, really love the US editions. They are beautiful. Oh, I love them. So that is simply the reason I bought these. I just prefer the US editions. Unfortunately, Starsight got a little bit ripped in the suitcase, so I'm a little bit upset about that, but what can you do? This is like an epic, like sci-fi fantasy kind of story, and I'm really excited for it. I've had Skyward on my shelf for a while. I'm just not ready yet, so maybe having the second book and the US editions on my shelf will now prompt me to finally read it. I've heard really great things about it. So this last book is a book I've wanted for ages, and I was really hoping I'd be able to get it because I know this specific cover can be quite difficult to get hold of sometimes, and I know you can't get this in the UK, and that is the Star Wars trilogy but the Princess Leia edition. This is a Barnes&Noble exclusive edition, and look at it. Isn't this just the prettiest? Oh, I love it so much. And it's got silver foil edges, and yeah, I absolutely adore it. This is based on the original trilogy of the Star Wars films, which is New Hope, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So yeah, I love this. I'm so happy to have this in my collection, and I'm so happy that I managed to find a copy. And then I picked up some graphic novels, so I got 4 graphic novels. These are all DC ones. These are all young adult graphic novels as well. DC have now done this cool little thing where they're producing young adult specific novel. Does that make sense? Specific young adult. They are young adult specifically is what I meant to say. So I picked them up. I used to read comic books all the time, more so Marvel than DC. I do want to get back into it. I have a bunch of comics on my shelf I really want to read, but I saw these and I just really wanted to get them. So the first one I know is available in the UK, but I'm not sure about the other 3. I really don't know actually. You might be able to get them in the UK, but I bought them anyway when I was in America. So the first one I got is Under the Moon, A Catwoman Tale, and this is by Lauren Miracle? Who knows? And then next we've got Teen Titans Raven, and this is by Cami Garcia, illustrated by Gabrielle Piccolo. So next we've got Batman Nightwalker, and this is by Mary Lou, and there is obviously the book adaptation of this, but this is the graphic novel. And then lastly we also have another adaptation from a book, which is Leigh Bardugo's Wonder Woman Warbringer, and I love this cover. Like, oh, so nice. I'm so happy with these. I cannot wait to read them. I'm hoping they reignite my love for comic books again, and all the covers are just so cool. And I mean, the art style in some of these are like, I just love how it's like all like a certain like colour tone as well. So that is all of the books and stuff that I got. I'm just going to show you some bookish bits that I got, and I'm really happy with these as well. So the first thing I got was this huge mug. Like, this is gigantic. I love big mugs. I love them because you can fit more tea in them. So this is perfect. I love the size, and it just says Book Nerd on it, and it's got like this nice like rose goldy stuff. like this. So this is from Barnes&Noble, and this was $6, which is ridiculously cheap. And like I said, it is massive. Like, you can kind of tell how big it is compared to my head. But yeah, I just love this. It's so nice. And then I also got a second mug, again from Barnes&Noble. This one was slightly more expensive. It was $10, and that is this one here. So it's in a box. So, I mean, I haven't opened it until now, so I'm hoping it's not smashed. It appears to be smashed. But yeah, this one is also huge as well. And it looks like this, and it says, I have no shelf control, which is just me all over, because look at these. No control whatsoever when it comes to buying books, and this is so me. I had to get it. I love it. When I went to the Strand, I picked up a bunch of bookish postcards, which are on my wall in little frames, and they look so cool. But I also picked up this beanie. This was like $18, and it's just a plain black beanie. And when I was in New York, it was absolutely freezing, and this was obviously great because it was cold. Strand Books, New York City. And I love this. It's so nice. It's a little bit, oh, it's a little bit big for my head, to be honest, like, because I've got such a small head. I have a hairband on, that probably wasn't a good idea. Kind of, it sticks up a little bit, but it just looks like this. It's so warm and comfy. Like, my ears get cold so easily, and this keeps them nice and snug and warm, and I really like it. I don't really have a black beanie, so yeah. I got one more thing from the Strand, which was my favourite thing that I got there. It's a jumper, so I got a medium, so it's a little bit oversized, and it looks like this, and it just says Strand, New York City, 18 miles of books, 1927. And I love it. It's so warm and cozy, and it's just great, and I literally haven't stopped wearing it. So that is everything I got on my trip in New York City. I am so unbelievably happy with all the books that I got, and I just now have to figure out how the hell I'm going to fit these all on my bookcase, because it is packed, and to be honest, I don't really have anywhere to put them, so I'm going to have to rearrange my the entirety of all 4 shelves now to fit these on. But I'm happy with them all. They are beautiful, and I can't wait to read them. If you liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up, or subscribe if you want to subscribe. And if you have read any of these books, then please do comment down below what your thoughts were. We'll link all the books down in the description, so you actually know what they're all about properly, because my descriptions were probably awful. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!